Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel. In a very different background, a very different place. I'm currently in Switzerland on holiday, so please do excuse if the light's a bit weird, the sound's a bit weird. We'll be back to normal by the next game. Although God flipping knows when the next game is. The less said about that, the better, because I'll just get myself in trouble with how fuming I am about that. But yeah, first game in charge of Graham Potter, and it's the same disappointment as always. We take the lead, then we don't take our chances, then we concede a stupid goal, and then we can't take more of our chances, and then we draw 1-0. Flipping brilliant. Now, we will have potentially very differing opinions. I'm not sure about Bertram yet, but between myself and Pice, terms of are or were things different between Thomas Tuchel's recent games and now this. Now, obviously, I highly presume it will get more different as time goes on because, you know, as much as Graham Potter was, of course, fortunate, shall we say, to get the Fulham game postponed, still, you know, it's only a few days. But we will have to have a debate whether it's different or whether it's the same. I think it's quite different. Now, I understand why some people say certain things are the same. Fair enough. And we will seemingly have to talk about Kai Havertz and how he's turned into Marmite. I don't know how that's happened, but apparently he's gone from human to Marmite because some people hate him and some people love him. Or on base, you know, on today's performance, I shall say. But let me get to my wonderful guest, who I'm very appreciative of, for joining me today. Let me start with you, Bertram. Bertram, thank you, as always, my man. Unfortunately, your run has come to an end. So far, every time you've been on reviews, and even the preview, we've won. But unfortunately, that has come to an end today. So how do you feel? Disappointment? Is it like, did you see things that like gave you a bit of hope? Or what's your thoughts on the current situation and obviously the game today, I guess?
Well, thank you very much for having me on again. Very difficult for the runs have ended, but yeah, I'm feeling quite weird, actually. I've been walking around these last few days kind of being scared of capitulation. My worst fear was losing this game. It would have been terrible. All things considered, it does feel like a loss, but I thought we saw some clear improvements within the squad, even though it's the same old story that we've seen for years upon years now. But I think I'm happy with the fact that we didn't lose, and I'm more happy with the fact that we don't have to see these players play for another 16 days. So that should give time for Potter to work with those who are left, or at least work with them up until the international break, and see what we get out of that. But just very annoyed that we didn't get to see that explosion of joy that we'd hoped maybe the players come out with and be 3-0 up again in 15 minutes. But all in all, I'm happy we didn't capitulate fully.
I mean, I guess that is a positive to take, but at the same time, we're now 2 Champions League games in, which is weird. Like, I'm really not a fan of this back-to-back weeks Champions League football. That's super strange, makes it seem less special. But 1 point after 2 games. Well, that's not it, is it? Pice, unhappy, disappointed, or just... I don't know. What are your thoughts? I need to fully catch up on what everyone's been saying in the chat. Clutch already texted me like the chat was already kicking off before the game before the stream even started. So I will try to get to all of the things of you guys. Like I say, different setup. It took me a while longer to set the whole stream up. But Pice, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I just thought it was a bit boring, to be honest with you. I mean, my tweet definitely got a lot of traction, a lot of people disagreeing. But I did think the first half was very, very similar to what we've been playing the last few weeks. I think we had a few combinations, but I mean, we hardly created that many chances all game. Our goal came from the defender messing up and it falling to Sterling. It was a great finish. And other than that, I think just same old, really. Missing chances, Potter's going to find this out that certain players just aren't good enough, man. Even for our benches. You know, I like Broja, but he can't be missing that chance inside the box. You've got to score that. You have to score that chance. Ziyech, one of the worst cameos I've ever seen. Yeah,
two sitters for Ziyech, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good save from the keeper, but other than that, absolutely shocking. There was one bit of play where he just passed the ball off the pitch. He's honestly shocking. But yeah, I mean, we're going to need to improve. It's just, for me tonight, whatever the circumstance, this was an absolute must-win game. You had to win this game tonight. I think we're going to the Europa League now. I think we actually are. AC Milan twice. Then we got Salzburg away and Zagreb at home. So, I mean, those AC Milan games are absolutely massive now. We need to get at least 4 points, in my opinion, to have any chance of going to going through. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how negative I want to be. I highly disagree with people who say it was flashy or anything that special. To be
Oh
honest
no,
with you,
no.
like
See, this is
some
why I agree with
people
you.
were
I don't think
sitting
it was
there
flashy, but it was different.
like some people were sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm enjoying this game." I was like, "Bro, I'm nearly falling asleep. Like, what's the difference? I don't get it." But I guess people see the game a different way. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, enjoying what I enjoyed, especially, I mean, it tailed off because number one, that whole fact became less and less as the game went on to some extent. But what I enjoyed the most was two things. Number one, as a unit, we seemed way more energetic than we had done in ages. And the biggest factor, our passing. It seemed like our average passing speed not only tripled, but like quintillioned. Like it seemed like we actually passed the ball quickly. Like I'm not saying we always passed it into good positions, but also the passing around the back. It was a bit of power and passes. I was like, finally, for the love of God. I mean, obviously that doesn't fix everything. Of course not. I'm very well aware of this. But that was one small thing where I'm like, okay, that's something better. Now, does that have anything to do with the manager? I don't know. Potentially not. We will probably never really know that. But let's get into the game. Now, the first thing we need to probably talk about is the lineup and the formation. I will get to that super chat in a minute. I almost want to keep it for when we talk about Havertz, but it's going to be a while. So I'm not sure if I want to keep it for that long. There's another super chat here by Aaron. Oh, Aaron. He was at the game. Sorry for you, Aaron. Europa League tickets, £5. Helping out the fans. Well, I guess there's always some light at the end of some tunnel. But yeah, I appreciate the donation, bro. I appreciate it as always. Now, I would have deemed the formation as something like this. Now, when we obviously had the ball and went forward, Sterling was then here, James was kind of here, and then Havertz was kind of next to Aubameyang. And then when we had to defend quickly, these two kind of dropped here to like cover for these two being so high, right? Now, people may have different opinions that's how we lined up. Is it surprising that Raheem Sterling kind of played as a, call it left wing back, call it left mid, whatever you want to call it? No, because Trossard played that for Brighton, so it wasn't exactly shocking. I personally was a fan of Havertz in this position. I'm like, finally, he's not just wasted with one long ball after the other. The problem is, we still played long balls. We just played them to flipping Aubameyang, who still can't head the ball because of his broken jaw, which is fair enough. I find it very understandable not to head the ball if you have a broken jaw, even if you play with the mask. But what I don't find understandable whatsoever is why does he play then? That's the part I don't understand. Don't play a guy that can't go into headers and physical duels because he has a broken jaw. I don't understand. Every time Broja comes on, he's a trillion times better than Aubameyang, yet two different managers keep playing Aubameyang. I don't understand. I also don't understand what Aspie had to do in this pitch. I don't understand at all. Stinker for the goal. Stinker most of the game. Like his passing is just do something for flip's sake. Not always slow or back and out of position all the time. People were coming at me on Twitter like, was he bad? Well, yeah, he was bad. Just because Salzburg didn't do anything doesn't mean he didn't slow us down all the flipping time. It triggered me. Yeah. I mean, like I say, we'll get to Havertz and Aubameyang. Kepa, though, great. I mean, he only made one really good save, and the second one he would have saved had Aspie not got an unfortunate deflection on it. So that was good. Passing out from the goalkeeper was good, other than a few long punts which went to no one. But I felt comfortable anyway. Pice, would you agree that you felt more comfortable with us passing the ball back to Kepa all the time than we had done for the last few weeks with passing it to Mendy all the time?
Yeah, I do have to disagree with you on the goal. I thought he should have saved it. I think Mendy's long arms get there, definitely. I think he does save that.
Is it not purely because of the deflection? It's not really to do with how long his arm is. Right? Because he needs to react to the deflection. I think that's impossible.
I don't know. I slightly disagree. Maybe I'll have to watch it back again. But on initial thought, I thought it was a bit of a, I thought it was a bit. He kind of went down really slow for me as well. I just thought, it kind of like rolled past. It wasn't really a good shot. It was kind of.
That's what I think, because I think the initial shot was coming basically straight at him, and the deflection puts it further in the corner, and I think that's why he reacts late. I mean, somebody else says here the deflection makes it easy. I mean, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. No deflection ever makes anything easier, bro, because you literally need to react later. But sure, we can have different opinions on this, absolutely. Before I ask you for a rating for Kepa, then, Pies, let me actually get Bertram's thoughts. Do you think Kepa could/should have done better or more for that goal?
When I think back at it, I think it'd be very, very, very tough to blame the goal on him. I think when it takes a deflection, especially because when you slow it down, it always looks worse. But I think in the heat of the game, the deflection really makes it difficult to save. And I think he would have saved the initial shot as well. I just think that goal, we'll get to it later, I think, but it was just entirely unlucky on every single facet of the game. So I think it'd be difficult. I think it's just a very, very, very unfortunate goal to concede. I don't think we could blame Kepa too much on it.
No, like if there's anyone being blamed for this goal, it's obviously Thiago Silva. Then Aspie obviously could have done more about it too. Maybe Kepa could do a little bit better, potentially. I did personally disagree, but fair if other people think that. Also, the way Cucurella stole now to press and obviously missed the tackle, leaving that entire side completely exposed for Thiago Silva to cover, which then obviously backfired. Yeah, it was just, like Bertram said, really, just an accumulation of 1 inch too late and 1 inch too late. Like Cucurella was just off that ball. And then Thiago Silva gets his foot stuck on the pitch. I don't know how he did that, but he kind of gets his foot stuck. That's why he misses the ball. And then Aspie, I don't understand how... I mean, Okafor is obviously very quick, but come on, man. You need to be there. And yeah, then the deflection. But I'll take it back to Pies and ask Bertram after that for Kepa's racing. So, Pies, if you think it's obviously he should do better, then obviously that will have an impact on your rating for him today. But what rating would you give him?
Don't know. Probably 5, maybe 5.5, something like that. Don't think he gets to do that much.
To blame for the goal. Are you not just trying to not blame Thiago Silva here?
No. I said in my tweet that Thiago Silva should have won the tackle. But
that first
Thiago Silva is
good to go below average. I find hard.
I don't know, bro. I'd expect him to make that save. All right, I'll give him a 6, but actually, no, 5.5. 5.5.
Okay, Bertram, what about you?
To be honest, I think I'd give him a 7. I think he was pretty decent, had a good save, but that's also on the premise that I don't blame him for the goal. But I think there was not much else he could have done during the game. I thought he was all right, and I thought he came out and chased one ball that I remember off the top of my head. So he was aware. I think I'd give him a 7, to be honest.
I'd agree. I would even be happy to give him a 7.5. It's just, I mean, I just don't blame him for the goal. I guess if I would blame him for the goal, I understand where Pies is coming from, I suppose. But yeah, I'd probably give him a 7 as well. So then we have 2 7s and 1 5.5. I guess that ends us on a 6.5, I suppose. So there we go. Let's get to that back three. Now, Bertram, let me start with you. Especially when one of the wingbacks is is Sterling. And then Cucurella plays left centre-back. I really hope we don't play this kind of back three in the Premier League. Now, Salzburg may be one thing, but in the Premier League, 5'8" Cucurella, 5'10" Aspie, 6'0" Thiago Silva. I'm concerned for set pieces. I mean, with a high line for defending free kicks today, obviously that helps, I guess. But I hope we don't do that in the Prem. But what did you make of, I should probably ask you both in general. I will go to Pies after that. Now that we've done the goalkeeper, what did you make of the team, and what did you, not only when it came out initially, but also now in kind of hindsight that we saw the game, what did you make of the shape and where players were and which players filled those roles, now that we know what those actual roles were?
Well, I think it was a very fluid formation throughout. I thought Cucurella was much higher, like when we had the ball in the graphic. I was surprised. I was very surprised that Aspie played. I'm going to be honest with you. I had kind of thought that Cucurella might, seeing as he's probably the most versed person in this whole team of what Graham Potter wants to do. And he filled a million roles out on the pitch today, so you could kind of see he knew what he needed to do. But Aspie's inclusion really surprised me, because he doesn't, in my head, seem to fill any of the roles that a Potter player would. When you think back to the team they had like Loose Dunk, so he's not Loose Dunk, Adam Webster, players like this weren't as tall as he is or as physically imposing. And I thought he was actually at fault for the goal we conceded. So I thought his inclusion was kind of strange. And I thought when I saw that they'd play with Benjamin Sesko instead, I was very worried of the physical battle that it would, end up bringing because they aren't the tallest defenders, but I thought they coped with them quite well throughout. I thought Thiago Silva was excellent on a couple of long balls over, but I kept sitting with the feeling that we were always so close to giving away a one-on-one. Like, it seemed like we had like one central defender the whole game, which, in fairness, we did because Cucurella pushed so high up. So it always, they looked like they had control of it, but it always seemed like, one bad pass from Jorginho or one interception and we'd be cooked because we had no defenders left. So I think it's very, very, very good and very beneficial for us to have these next week so they can train it up, because as you said, if we played with this in the Premier League, we'd be like Michael Antonio would eat us up if he played against this defense, I think, personally.
I do agree. And what I'm very intrigued about, because, obviously people might not all be that aware of that what RB Salzburg usually do, but every game RB Salzburg play is a crazy game against, like in the Champions League, right? That's just how their games are, whether that was against Liverpool, whether that was against Napoli in like past seasons. That's the game they create. That's literally that's their main job, right? They just run around like crazy, meaning they will find spaces against no matter who you are, but it also means you will find spaces against them. That's just any game against RB Salzburg. What's going to be very intriguing is to find out how we're going to look against teams, that aren't as crazy as RB Salzburg. Are we also going to look, like Bertram just said, very much in the edge of being exposed on a very regular basis? Because I feel like that might only be an RB Salzburg thing, personally, and only 3 days of training thing. I personally think, but obviously I don't know that for sure. I cannot be sure. We'll have to wait until October 1st to find out. Cheers for that. Absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. But again, the less said about that, the better. Paisto, like I say, not just initially the reaction to when the team came out, but also now that in hindsight you knew what we did and who played where. Your thoughts on the team selection?
As for me, bro, I can't remember how many times I've said this. He needs to stop playing, and I was getting really annoyed with people saying, "Oh, he just wants his captain out there." I'm going to ruffle a few feathers with this, but he is not a good captain. He is not a good captain on the pitch. He's not a leader. I don't get it. He only has that captain's armband because of how long he's been here. Fair enough, but he's not good either. He hasn't been good for ages, bro. I don't understand. And I'll argue with people all they want with you, with anyone, I don't think he's good. I think he's terrible. And for me, bro, that I put a tweet out. You can't tell me when that, I know Silva made a bad tackle, but you can't tell me that goal probably doesn't happen. Look at Fofana and Koulibaly. Look how slow he was to get across to that cross. The anticipation there, it's not there. He's not been good for ages. And I don't think he offers anything going forward. I don't necessarily think he progresses the ball fast. I don't know, bro. I think
there's also so many just slow passes, misplaced passes.
Yeah,
slightly. What's the word I'm looking for? Unprecise passes where Reece or whoever he passed to had to stretch and then make that next pass more difficult. I completely agree with you. Not on the captain thing as much, but on the pitch, 100%. Do you want to start with his rating, or do you want to more spread out on in general the selection first?
I'll give him his rating. I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a 3. I don't think he was good at all. I think he's pretty useless, to be honest with you. Sorry if that ruffles a few feathers, but truth needs to be told. If you want to get somewhere with this team, with this new manager, I'm sorry, Graham Potter and stuff, you can't be picking him today. You've got to put Fofana or Koulibaly in there. Even Koulibaly, he's got enough experience. Why does
those two did not play is mind-boggling.
I don't get it. I don't understand at all. Hopefully this is just a one-off thing, because that's just, I'm sorry, if we pick a lineup, we know to pick Fofana or fucking someone like that over Aspi. Even Chalobah, bro. Why? Because Aspi was going out kind of, he was pushing out, kind of being out to the right hand side a little bit as well. So I don't understand why Chalobah couldn't have played even. He's played plenty of Champions League games. Like, I just don't buy this whole, I needed him there for the experience and captain. Like, get out of here with that, man.
Bro, he's
I
playing
don't
next to
know,
Thiago Silva. What more experience do you need?
Exactly. We've got enough experienced players on the pitch. Like, there's so many accounts trying to back that decision. I'm just like, I know you want to get behind the new manager, but just call it how it is. That's not acceptable, man. And it costs us today.
If I'm honest with you, bro, maybe I kind of saw it coming. Not necessarily that it would be instead of Fofana and or Koulibaly, but I wasn't exactly shocked when I saw Aspi start today. It seems just like a new manager thing to do, to just play the captain in your first game, just to, like, I don't know, ease things in. Should he have maybe seen in training that Aspi isn't quite it anymore? Maybe. And maybe I wouldn't go quite as low as you, but I probably would have given him a 4, if I'm honest, without going too much into depth, because you've covered kind of most of it already, Bertram. What do you think? 3, 4 on my end? What do you reckon for Aspi?
I thought he was the unfortunately the worst player on the pitch. I think he costed the goal. I agree with Pais. I'm giving him the 3. I think it's something we can't see. Like Thomas Tuchel, I think, as I remember, he played him in his first game and he scored the first goal for Tuchel as well in the second game. So I think it's just something that you do, and I don't think it's something we have to get used to seeing. I understand us having to extend his contract for 1 more year, us doing it, but I really struggle to see him give anything to the team as it is right now, especially seeing as we have 3 very, very, very good central defenders on the bench right now, and us having Cucurella to be able to play as well. It seems like we're very well stocked in the position. So I hope we keep him around. I hope we can play him the cup games maybe, but it's difficult to see Aspi playing regularly or playing, the important games as well. But I think it's just something you have to be accustomed to seeing. As you said, you've kind of thought already that he would play, and I think that's just how it is. So I'd give him a 3 personally for the mistake.
Fair dues. Let's move across the centre back 3 then. Thiago Silva, the only one that played as a real centre back. Obviously, big mistake for the goal. Now, when you see it back, it's still a mistake, of course, but it's just unlucky because he somehow gets his foot stuck. I still don't really understand how this happens. Like, the guy's nearly 38 years old. The guy, like, think about how many tackles in his whole life Thiago Silva must have made. Like, think about that. In the tens of thousands, probably. Like, it has to be. And then he somehow manages to get his foot stuck because he stretches it too late as he's falling down while sliding. It's just a very weird error. But outside of that, it was very good. So now I'm not really sure what to give that, if I'm honest. I probably would have given him like a 7.5 without the mistake. Hence why I'm saying 6.5. That's what I go for. Despite the mistake, I still think he was above average despite the mistake. Bertram, would you agree? Or would you have even gone higher initially and therefore still going to go higher despite the mistake?
Well, to be honest, I think this might even be Thiago Silva bias. I thought he was outstanding today. I thought he was, in the midst of all this chaos, I thought he was very calming. I was very calm when he was on the ball. He didn't seem stressed by it. I think I'd give him a 7.5, to be honest. Maybe even 8 without the mistake. I think you can quantify mistakes differently, and I think it was, as you said, it was just very, very unlucky to get into that situation. And I think it's a one-off. I don't think we'll be seeing him even in training make mistakes like that. But I'd give him a high rating. I thought he was good. I thought he was the leader that we needed in defense. And short and sweet.
Would you stick to the 7.5 even with the mistake, though? Is that what you're trying to say?
You know what? Fair. I think I still would. I think he was very good throughout the game. I thought he handled Benjamin Sesko very well, as he has done with many other strikers, many better strikers as well. And I just thought he played very well. I think it was, definitely a 7.5.
That is fair. Pais then. How much would you deduct? Well, maybe not how I should start the question. What would you rate him, and then maybe elaborate what you might have given him without any mistake happening, and then kind of explaining how much you deduct for that? Because Bertram isn't wrong. It isn't like where Aspi just is too slow to get to Okafor. Is that, to some extent it's a mistake. To some extent it's, a 19-year-old or however old Okafor is, who's really quick versus Aspi. So, can he get across there quickly enough? Probably, but can we know that for sure? It's a tough one. But then Thiago Silva just gets his foot stuck. But then again, you're 37, don't get your foot stuck. Do you know what I mean? It's also, yeah, do you know what I mean? So, Pais, how would you come to Silva's rating?
Um, I don't know. I was going to give him like a 6.5 without the mistake. Probably put it down to a 6 just because I don't think it was the worst mistake, but it was still a mistake. I just think it could have been like it's one of those ones where he could have got, saved. He could have got that mistake saved. I don't think he directly cost us the goal. I think more could have been done, especially on Aspie's side to stop it. So I'm not going to go too high just because I don't think Salzburg had much of a threat. I mean, we had all of the ball. Contrary to a lot of opinions, I actually thought we moved the ball quite slow, apart from Cucurella, which I know a lot of people again disagreed with. But yeah, I will go. I'll go with a 6, just because I mean, it comes out as average, but maybe I should go lower. But again, for that goal, like I can't help but think, one, it's Thiago Silva. He literally never makes mistakes, and he made some great tackles beforehand. And two, I think a lot more could have been done even after that.
Can I quickly ask what you guys, why you wouldn't give him like an 8? Because I understand, we're not playing against Real Madrid, but I think he handled a very chaotic game very well, and I'm kind of in my head a bit confused that you'd give him such low ratings from an otherwise not perfect but a very good game.
I don't think it was chaotic, bro. I think it was very sort of relaxed. Actually, I think we had all of the ball. I think Salzburg didn't really attack at all. I think he had a lot of time on the ball.
Game to a lot of other people play. Like,
I don't. Yeah, I mean,
Salzburg are in is chaotic. That's just what they do. They run around like crazy people.
Yeah, no. I mean, just in terms of the attack, I think obviously, they didn't offer anything, and I just felt like we had. I mean, I don't know what our possession stat was, but I just felt like it was kind of. I don't know. We were kind of like just going through the motions a little bit sometimes. Like that's how I thought it was that relaxed. But maybe, maybe you disagree. I don't know.
That is fair. I mean, Bertram, obviously, I would have given him a 7.5, and then I took one off to go to a 6.5 for the mistake. Because while I see what Pice is saying, that the mistake certainly can be saved after, doesn't take away from it being a mistake as much as it is unlucky. And then to some extent, I still kind of agree with Pice. While Salzburg sure made it chaotic, they didn't get around the box that often. So I'm like, how high am I going to go for that? Do you know what I mean? That's why I didn't go higher than that. And like I say, I just took one off for the error. But Bertram, I'll stick with you. Cucurella, what do you make of him? Especially first, I think it's the first time we saw him at least play a full game at left centre-back. What did you make of that? And also, well, we have Fofana and Koulibaly now. So let's assume that Potter at some point has an epiphany and stops playing Aspie, hopefully. So, okay, let's assume then Fofana comes in for that. But then I still don't really see where Koulibaly comes in. Obviously for rotational purposes instead of Silva, I'm sure. But if Potter wants the left centre-back to do what Cucurella did today, I'm not sure who other than Cucurella can do that in our team, if I'm honest.
Well, I think, didn't he at Brighton? He used him sometimes at left centre back at Brighton, but we also had the opportunity to use him
as
left
saying.
Wing.
If he wants him to play like he did today, if that's what he wants the left centre back to do regularly, then who else can play that?
Yeah, of course. I don't think you would see Koulibaly playing left wing, centre mid, centre back. All these different positions. I think the thing with Koulibaly is first he was brought in under a different manager, but he does kind of fill the quota of being another well-versed center back that we can use. But I think I think Potter still will find a use for him because one, he is a good defender, world-class one in that, and two, he did have some of sort of the same types at Brighton. But sure, if you want him to play the same way as Cucurella did, there's not much to do. But I think Cucurella kind of made it the chaotic game we had today as well, putting it into that. But I think this again with Koulibaly, I think it's very good for rotation and leadership in general.
Fair. But what did you make of Cucurella's performance, and how would you rate him, mate?
I thought he was all right. Maybe a bit average. I didn't see him as much, but he played left center back. I think he's very, very rash sometimes, and I do like players who are a bit rash. As Pai said, he was one of the ones who moved it very quickly. But I think if he can learn to control it and maybe spring it in the right moments, and it's very difficult to do because sometimes stuff happens, but I think, did he need to be as rash as he did for the goal? It's very easy to sit here after and say he should have marked him instead, but I think he to be honest with you, I think he was quite average throughout the game. But I'm excited to see what if Potter can unlock his full potential, because if there's one manager in world football who can unlock Cucurella, I think it would be Potter. So I'd give him a 6 personally.
Fair. Before I go to pies for this, it's a weird one. Also, judging from the chat, that's a lot of people are saying he was good. There's some people that don't think it was as good. It's an interesting one because I agree with what Bertram is saying. Not in every occasion. I don't think that's what Bertram was trying to say either. But I do agree that he sometimes seems a little bit rash. And when I say that, I don't mean rash tackles, and I don't mean necessarily rash passes. It just seems like his body movement between when he needs to sort his body out to get to a ball, that's when I sometimes feel like, what were you doing? I don't know. But that doesn't... I still think actually as a team, he was actually good. Sorry, as a player, he was actually good. Obviously... playing left centre back, I mean, but sometimes, but at parties, bloody gonna, play as a left wing back, running in behind and overlapping Sterling, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, for your left centre back. Defensively, he was good, other than obviously the one moment. Is that his mistake in terms of, or is that an instructional just thing? Okay, you're supposed to press there. Sometimes you're going to win the ball, sometimes you're not. Maybe, I mean, Wing says he's not rash, he's aggressive. I do agree, but aggressiveness is a different word and it's a different meaning, in my opinion, to rash. I think he is aggressive for sure, but that doesn't stop him from also being rash. I think both can be possible, if that makes sense. I would probably give him a little bit higher. I'd probably go 6.5 for Cucurella. Would I go 7? No. I still think with that pressing moment that in the end ultimately led to the goal, I don't think I want to go that high, if I'm honest. And like we touched on a little bit earlier already, Salzburg didn't threaten us that much. But then again, Cucurella, of course, was also involved in midfield, defensive midfield, attacking areas. So maybe I don't want to just purely judge him on how much Salzburg did because he wasn't just involved in defending, was he? But yeah, I'm going to say probably 6.5. Pies, what about you?
I was going to go 6.5 as well. I thought he was pretty decent. I thought he moved the ball quickly. Just incredibly frustrated at that one chance where it fell to me. He didn't drill it. He tried to pass it back into, I think it was Havertz for a tap-in. If that's Chilwell, I think that's an absolute goal. I think Chilwell absolutely smacks that chance. So that's very disappointing.
How our left centre-back ends up in that position. That's the part.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he did quite a lot of different roles because I don't think Sterling was strictly a wing-back. I thought you saw him get up very high, and then you saw Cucurella push up and kind of cover him.
I think there was certainly part of the game where we kind of played like this, but still had no right back.
You didn't.
Yeah, maybe this is more accurate. I don't know.
I thought he did well to sort of cover for Sterling, meant he didn't have to do so much defending, but. Yeah, I mean he gives a solid shift. I thought he was good on the ball. I'm just a bit disappointed he didn't lever that shot, which could have quite easily been a goal. I think it is Chilwell, and maybe one of the things you miss out on is still that goal threat from Chilwell. I think even Alonso, I think that's definitely a goal there. It's just I don't know if he does have that kind of killer instinct in him, and in terms of an attacking sense. But
which is good then that he's not playing wing back, but more. Left back / left centre back, right?
Yeah, I think going forward, I think he will play a lot of wing back. I really do. I don't see a.
You think? I think when it's
I don't see Koulibaly
or Sterling Pulisic clearly.
I don't see Koulibaly sitting on the bench, to be honest with you, bro. I think that'd be quite surprising. I think that'd be quite a big statement. I don't think the owners would like that either.
That is true. They probably wouldn't, but they're not going to sack another manager now, so Potter can kind of do what he wants. If we're honest, they're not going to sack another one. Let's be honest. But fair dues. Let's move into midfield then. Jorginho. Now, what I will say about Jorginho is he played a lot, and I mean a lot of over-the-top passes today. Now, were all of them great? No, there were a few very good ones in there. Some of them were less so, but. What I want to see is if that is going to be a regular thing. Is that a thing that he's been told, do that more? Because even under Thomas Tuchel, there's been games when randomly out of nowhere, Jorginho played quite a lot of these. And then for the next 7 games in a row, he didn't play a single one, or what it felt like anyway, maybe 1 or 2 per game max. And then he had one odd game again where he plays 10. So I'm very intrigued whether that was just one of these one-off games where he plays it a lot, and then he's going to go back to usual next game. or whether this is going to be a continuous thing for him to be doing under Potter. That's going to be interesting. Not really sure what to give him. Like, there was good moments, there was bad moments, was a bit slow sometimes, was good sometimes. I thought in terms of doing the defensive part of that 6 role that he played today, I thought he did that part reasonably well. But yeah, I'd probably overall give him a 6, just because I would just deem his performance today as almost the definition of average. Like I say, some good, some bad, overall average. That's what I'd say. Pies, what about you?
Yeah, probably a 6. I don't think. I think actually I saw. I mean, in terms of stats, apparently he was very, very good. But I don't know. I just thought, a bit average. I don't really know what to say. Just a bit of an average game. I think I don't notice. I mean, I liked that he went for those sort of over the top balls. There was one where he tried like a Watford to Tammy Abraham, where he tried it with Aubameyang, but didn't quite come off. But yeah, I don't really know what to say, to be honest. I'm just going to go with a 6, and I'm not sure. Maybe someone else can expand.
Fair dues, Patrick. Could you expand? Do you have much more of an opinion than he was average?
No, I think he embodies the Gattuso quote very well. But to be honest, I think I also tacked on to what you said about the over-the-top through balls. I think it's something I've always wanted to see from him. He has some amazing assists. Pice just mentioned the one to Tammy at Watford. He also had the one to Havertz last season, I think. So it's something I'd like to see him do more, because it also, it gives us as a team more, leverage in a way that we can also hit these over the top through balls. But I thought he controlled possession very well. A bit of the same of Thiago Silva. Thought he slowed it down when he needed to. He did have one moment where he almost did get pressed. I think, in the first half when he got it from Kepa. But other than that, I thought he was pretty average. But I'm excited to see what Potter can do or get from him throughout these next couple of games.
Fair dues. I was kind of struggling. And before we're going to do these 2 midfielders, let's do at least Reece James. Maybe Sterling will do after. This is going to, if Potter is going to do this kind of formation more regularly, we're going to have trouble here when to do what ratings. But yeah, Reece James at the very end, once Hakim Ziyech came on for Aspie, was then at right centre-back. And I'm, again, why do the managers keep doing that? Tuchel did it plenty of times. Now Potter did it. He's the most likely guy to get us a goal. Why do these managers, when we need a goal, put him at right centre-back? Now, I understand the idea. Okay, we're bringing a more attacking player on, and then we're taking Aspie out, and okay, where do we put Reece then? Okay, we have to put him there. I get it. But he's more likely to create and score a goal than Hakim Ziyech and Christian Pulisic. Well, not just combined. Even if they had, what's the word? Clones, and there was 4 of them, Reece James would still be more likely to do something. So I don't really understand that decision. Okay, here's a word. Now, if anyone will ever end up clipping this and Reece James sees this, which I doubt, but you never know. Please, Reece, keep your anger under control, man. What is this unnecessary shove on that guy and getting himself booked? Bro, 2 yellow cards in the Champions League and you're suspended. Can you calm it down, mate? And then there was another one later on with Ulmer at the very end when Ulmer clearly fouled him, which I get is a foul. But then Reece was trying to grab him and kick him. And I'm like, bro, you need to calm down. You were already lucky last game that you didn't get sent off. Then you shoulder barge the referee, which if the referee thinks you did that maliciously, you're getting sent off for that too. And then God knows banned for how long if they think you did that maliciously. You need to calm down. You need to calm down. You're an amazing player, probably the most talented player we have in the squad. But you need to calm down. You cannot just start pushing players. I know you're a big guy, you're going to fight everyone if you need to. But don't get yourself booked and potentially send off. Please stop doing that for the love of God. But in terms of performance now, I thought he started a bit slow. There was one when he received the ball from Jorginho, and I thought he would volley it and smack it at goal. Instead, he tried to control it and then really badly miscontrolled it, and it bounced 3 yards away from goal. But other than that, very good. Obviously, started the whole move that led to our goal, even if it's obviously mostly on the back of Salzburg's defenders. And had a couple of good crosses, which I wish someone was at the end of. Weirdly, I think Raheem Sterling has no clue what to do when he receives a high cross at the far post. He just seems to have no clue what he needs to be doing, which is weird. But yeah, I'm going to give Reece 7, I reckon. 7. Now, some people say, we drew. That's too high. which I understand to some extent, but maybe I'm going to say 6.5. But do I think he was better than Cucurella? Yes. So I'm going to say 7. I'm going to say 7. Bertram, let me go with you first. Now, number 1, do you see what I mean with terms of that he needs to calm this down a little bit? Or is this just me that sees that?
I don't know. I think I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's more than necessarily other players. But I think he was pretty lucky, especially with the shoulder barge against Leeds. I think he was very lucky there. But in terms of the game today, I think I would probably have given him a 6.5 as well. I think he had one chance where it's difficult to rate him on the basis of one chance, but I would have wished he had the sharpness in the one situation where Aubameyang and Raheem Sterling were not free, but close to the middle. But other than that, I thought he was not up to his own standards, which sometimes that can harm the player's rating. So in a normal player, I would probably agree with you and give them a 7. But for his standards, I would probably give him a 6.5. But I wouldn't be angered if you'd give him a 7.
Absolutely. And I mean, someone said it here, Indefinite said it. Rudiger is not there, so someone has to do it. See, but Rudiger didn't get himself stupidly booked. Rudiger never did that. Rudiger didn't just, someone is in front of him trying to stand up, and then he just pushes him. That's stupid. Don't do that. I'm not saying it's the worst thing. And someone said that you need to know the line. But like I say, 2 yellow cards in the Champions League and you're suspended for a game. We need to basically win all the remaining 4 games, maybe 1 draw. We don't have time for people to get, like Reece James, to get suspended. So, and at some point, you might have to take a yellow card. Sometimes you have to. And then for you to be suspended for a yellow card that was pushing a player that's standing up when the ball is out of play. What are you doing? Come on. Really? We have more serious shit going on than trying to push players, please. But Bertram, did you say a rating for Reece?
I would personally give him a 6.5, but a 7 is also all right.
Fair dues. Pies, what about you? I mean, you genuinely seem to be going a little bit lower for the ratings overall today, as you probably didn't think the performance as a whole was any good. But what about Reece James? Number 1, do you see what I mean in terms of that he needs to calm it down in certain situations? And also, what do you make of his performance? How would you rate him?
Yeah, I think the one of them where he pushed the guy when he was going down, I think that's a bit unnecessary. Sometimes I really like it because it shows you're obviously pissed off and you care, but certain times I'm just like, there's no need for that. I'm going to go 6, to be honest, Laurenz. I don't think he was that great. I think I hold Reece James to very high standards, and I think the left side for us today was, I just think, more fluid than the right-hand side. I think James was just a bit, I don't know, there's some games where I just think he's a bit slow or clunky sometimes. I don't know, he doesn't, sometimes he'll go on these marauding big powerful runs and then he's unstoppable. In other games, he's just a bit sort of I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, I just don't think he offered a lot going forward. And I think we need him to. We really do need him to. There was certain situations in the first half where I thought he could have put in a cross and he kind of didn't. He passed it back. So I'm just going to go over 6, to be honest. I thought it was an average performance. Nothing amazing, nothing terrible. Just probably at the average rating for me anyway.
You know what? I will put my rating down to a 6.5. I think that is probably more appropriate than my initial 7. Leaves us at a 6.5 regardless. But T-Spot, if you're going to run around with stats like this, at least get it right. Mason Mount got an assist today. So, sorry, you've had a stinker. Unless they didn't officially give it, but on FODMOB it says he got the assist. So, that's the next one. Okay, let's do the 2 midfielders then. Starting with Mateo Kovacic. Now, there was a lot of times in this game where he ended up here, because obviously Sterling was very high up the pitch rather than what this formation required, a left mid, left wing back situation. Still doesn't look fully fit, in my opinion, or at least he doesn't look as good as he did last season. And I might just give him the excuse that that's because he's not fully fit. Maybe he's just in worse form. I don't know. But I'm going to give him the excuse for the time being. But I still don't think it was bad. I'd probably just give him the same as Jorginho. I don't think it was any better. I don't think it was any worse. Personally, there was certain things he did better, obviously, because he's better than Jorginho on certain things. But there was also times where I'm positionally, he seemed a little bit confused with what he should be doing here, whether he should be here or should be there or should be here. He seemed to not really be sure. Now, I'm not sure what he should have been doing, but I just knew that he wasn't in the right positions. because he was late to certain positions where he was trying to get, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm gonna probably give him a 6. Pies, what about you?
Yeah, 6 or 6.5. Probably give him a 6. I didn't like the position he was playing in. I prefer him on the right hand side of things. I don't like him playing on the left there today. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really think he looked comfortable there for some reason. And like you said,
he plays on the left, doesn't he?
no, he plays on the right. Jorginho plays on the left, and he plays on the right, attacking right side. So I don't think
I think you're wrong there. Sorry, bro. I think when
No, he
Jorginho
plays on the
plays
right,
with
bro.
Kante, Georgie's on the left, Kante's on the right. But when Georgie and Kova play, Kova's on the left, Georgie's on the right. And when Kante and Kova
the
play,
right hand
Kova is also
side,
on the left.
the right hand side is always the advanced one. With the left hand side is the guy that drops deeper. So that's how he plays.
Yes, that's true, but only because Kova was injured. That's why it was always the left, because then Georgie plays on the left. I think when Kova's fit, he plays on the left. Including Zagreb, by the way, including Zagreb and the game before that. I'm pretty
He's always
sure.
played on the right and up pivot.
If you remember, the goal he scored against Villa last year was also from the right, where he pressed up from the right. I think Price is right on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very sure on this, so I'm very
sure on this, bro. Cover's my guy, I know.
I hear that, but I mean, look at it. He was on the left last game.
Yeah,
I mean, it was with Mount, so maybe that's a little bit of an unfair game to compare.
When Jorginho plays, he's always on the right. He's always next to Jorginho on the right, being the more advanced one.
Ruben was the 6, and he was on the left.
Yeah, not with Jorginho though. So when Jorginho's playing, I don't want him playing on the left.
Every game this season he was injured. So what do we have to go?
Well, I don't want him playing on the left, is what I'm saying. I don't like him there at all. I think he looked uncomfortable. I think he looked completely uncomfortable.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Mount should switch with him today, in my opinion.
Should maybe. But Mount is obviously used to playing in the right, being in the front right.
When Kovacic goes on these runs and advances, it's always from the right. So how do you expect him to do it on the left? I don't understand. He doesn't. That's why he looked so awkward, in my opinion, because he doesn't really play that position often. Because Jorginho always plays, yeah. So he's usually on the right, going forward.
Also, seemingly, everyone in the chat is kind of disagreeing with you. I'm not sure what's happening. How we've got to this position where we have a different opinion way plays. I don't know how we got to this. But it doesn't matter. We're not going to come to an agreement on this now, are we? So, let's just move on, I suppose. But Bertram, 6. You in the end gave a 6, right? Not 6.5 for cover price.
Yeah, I'd give him a 6. Yeah.
Bertram, what about you?
Yeah, I feel quite downvoted. I would have given a 6.5 personally. I see what you're saying about on the ball. He wasn't in the same positions. He maybe was a bit confused, but I thought his off the ball work rate was very good, and I thought he had some nice touches. So I would have given him a 6.5, but I think a 6 would also suffice.
Fair dues. Let's get to Mason Mount then, I guess. Should Sterling be first? Who knows? Got his first assist of the season. The first one actually counted. Already kind of got one against West Ham, was it? That one for Sterling? I feel like it was against West Ham. But obviously it didn't officially count because the defender had a little touch of the ball in between. Obviously he had that one shot which just like swazzed wide of the goal. Good shot. There was good turns in midfield. I liked him in midfield. Obviously people will say, he didn't score again. Well, he played a lot. He played as a proper midfielder today, right? So now you have to, if he plays this position, you have to hold him to the standard of Kovacic, not to a standard of a forward. Different. But I thought in terms of midfield, did pretty well. Now, sometimes I think, again, I'm not sure about structure, if it was Reece James that was supposed to help Aspie or if it was Mount that was supposed to help Aspie, but one of them should have. And they, on a few occasions, didn't. Which is a little bit unfortunate, I suppose. Do I think he was a little bit better than Kova and Jorginho? Yes. I would give him a 6.5. Just a tad better, just a tad more involved, a few more like energetic turns, runs, sprints, like just more trying to do something. Didn't always come off. But yeah, that's what I felt. Maybe people disagree. That's obviously fair. Bertrand, what about you? Do you disagree? Do you think it was a tad better than Kova, or do you think it was worse potentially?
In the notes I wrote to the game, I wrote Mount and then a star. I thought he was the best. I thought he was the man of the match today. I thought he was very good. I thought we saw what we've been lacking from the other games. I thought we saw some decisiveness. I thought we saw some anger, some wildness, if that's even a word. You know, a desire to move forward. I thought he looked not, if not sharp, but he looked like he wanted to create something. He didn't look as caged as he's done in the other games, and did get an assist in the end. I was so annoyed that he didn't get that on target. It feels like an easy shot, but I'm not a professional footballer, unfortunately. It would have been so good for that to go in. But I thought this was definitely his best game, and I thought he was our man of the match. It always felt like something happened or something was on the verge of happening, or at least he moved us forward when he got the ball. So I was happy with his performance. I would give him a 7 personally.
See, the whole man of the match thing, because a few people in the chat seem to heavily disagree with you on that. I'm not sure. Like, I didn't really think we had a man of the match, because it probably would be Silva, but then obviously he may have had a big mistake. And then next one, there's, I think, a lot on a very similar level, just in my opinion, because Sterling obviously scored and had good moments, but Sterling also had some stinking moments in this game, in my opinion. A lot of people thought he was amazing. Personally, good, but not amazing. Aubameyang was completely dreadful. On Havertz, we'll talk about that in a minute. And the other ones we've covered already. But would rating, rather than just man of the match, what rating would you give Man Bertram?
I'd give him a 7 personally. I thought he was a tad better than the other players we had on, even though the chat would disagree with me.
Thiago Silva 7.5, or did you say 7 for him?
I can't remember, to be honest. I thought he was very good as well, to be honest. I think.
No, it's fair. I'm not trying to make you look silly. I was just trying to clarify. So good. Fair dues. A 6.5 and a 7 so far then, Pice. Judging by your reaction so far to the game, I assume you're going to go lower than that. But what did you make of his performance, and how would you rate him?
I mean, I don't give ratings for energy. Otherwise, I'd rate Gallagher much higher than I do. I'm going to go over 6, to be honest with you. I don't think he was that great. Thought he was, like, in terms of, like, getting into the tackle in a little bit, like, I think he was good in terms of, like, I do agree with Bertram saying he showed a little bit of anger, he showed a little bit of fight, but I mean, I just prefer, the technical side of the game, and I don't think he did enough for me in that midfield. He also missed a volley, which I think he should have scored, at least get it on target. So
very close though.
I don't care, bro. It's these things that, it's fine margins. We missed too many chances today, and I think, he's shown he's had technique in the past, so I think he did bottle that a little bit. But maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. But I'd give him a 6 again. I just thought average performance. Don't think he stood out very much. Don't think he did an awful lot wrong. I just think, not enough. Again, we're not playing a top level side. You should be, showing yourself a little bit more than you did, in my opinion.
Fair. Ends us at a 6.5. Let's get to Raheem Sterling then. Got his goal. Another goal. He does get goals, that's for sure. But like I said, to me, he feels like he has no idea what to do at the far post when he receives a high ball. Low balls, my guy knows what he's doing. But high balls, he doesn't seem to know whether he wants to head it or chest it or where to control it. And then he's always too close and needs to control it with his foot by his own bloody belly button. There was this one moment where I thought it hit the Salzburg defender's hand, and Sterling called for it, but I only saw one replay. Probably not enough for a pen anyway, because the hand was quite close to the body regardless. But still, yeah, there was just a few moments where, and then he slowed it down. The crosses were really bad every time. I mean, he got past his man all the time, but then he smacked it basically over to Reece James. And what's the point in that? Don't really understand. But I got a goal. Now, because of the goal, I will give him a 7. But otherwise, I would have given him a 6, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Pice, what about you? Did you think Sterling was good? Did you see what, like, he got past this guy plenty of times? And that's why I put in the chat. I know he scored in the end, but I put in the chat, Sterling is just very good at running and dribbling, and then average a lot of other things. That's what I mean, his finishing maybe is still good. Well,
it's a great goal. Fantastic finish.
But it's just up and down in terms of whether he has a stinking finish or a really good finish, because the finish for his goal was a very good finish. But then he doesn't always produce that finish. So, I don't know. Talk to me.
Well, yeah, I kind of do agree with you. I think it was a fantastic finish. I think we should highlight that, because I remember I thought I did. A couple of weeks ago, I can't remember what game it was. It might have even been the Zagreb game, but there was a chance where it came to him on the left hand side, and he just tried to dribble past everyone instead of just shooting. And I tweeted, how many times at City did he get the ball on that left hand side, touch, look, and just shoot and curled it into the far corner? Literally, you could find so many of his goals. Like that goal he scored today, he scored like 10 or 20 of them for City. Same thing. That's the clinicalness and the decisiveness we need. Don't even think, just go for goal. Don't overcomplicate things. I feel like sometimes lately he's tried to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
So hopefully that gives him a bit more confidence. Obviously he's going away with England now, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I thought he was okay. I thought he did some good dribbles. So I definitely preferred him on the left hand side more than centrally. I feel like he can go at his man, and I feel like over time, if he does play more on the left, he'll start to win us quite a few penalties as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he put was it him who put he beat his man, put a really good cross into the back post. I'm not sure if that was him or not. Maybe it was Reece James. Can't remember. But I'm going to give him a 7. Yeah, I do agree. Probably a 6.5 without, but I'll give him a 7 because of the goal.
Fair dues. There's a lot of people in the chat saying about how great his control was. Sorry. What? the two Salzburg players literally stepped over the ball, being complete clowns. And by the time the ball got to Sterling, it was rolling at about 5 miles an hour. No, that wasn't a great touch. He just put his foot on it, rolled it forward to shoot. No. It's a great finish, but it's most certainly not a great, what? Sorry. What are your standards? Come on now. My nan can control that ball. Someone, sorry. But, Budget, 2 7s then, on the basis of the goal. You gave Mount a 7 or 7.5, did you say, potentially? No, I think 7. As man of the match, so that tells me either he's the same or less, but what did you make of Sterling?
I would have given a 7 as well. Could sound a bit hypocritical, but I think he was all right. I couldn't help but feel he's sort of not wasted, but yeah, kind of wasted on left wing back, but I see what he brings, and I saw what he brought today as well. I would have hoped that I think if there was one player in the entire Premier League I would trust to receive across the back post, I think he scored a million goals like that at City. But like you said, he doesn't really know what to do when it comes to him, and I would have hoped he showed a bit more awareness.
Sorry for interrupting, but didn't he have that shot he had blocked? That was definitely going in on the replay from what I was seeing. So I'm just not sure what you guys are saying about the back post, because I thought he would have scored that. I mean, it was a great block.
While I agree with what you're saying there, it was so obvious that guy was right in front of him. Okay, yeah, it would have gone in if it was blocked, but the guy was there, right? He could clearly see the guy running there. So that's
he couldn't have gone front post though, because it was the right placement. It was just a great block in my opinion, but fair enough.
But he had a couple of those. I distinctly remember a couple in the first half, but it could be nitpicking. I think he had one where he maybe should have passed it and one where maybe he should have shot, but again, it's the small margins. I would have hoped there was one, I think it was in the 6-yard box, where I hoped he would have just smashed it, where he controlled it, but I think otherwise than that, I think he was good to get free in those areas, and he got the goal, a very good goal as well. A goal that we've kind of missed as well from our attackers, so I was happy to see that. But I think we saw a lot of those crosses being put in towards the left and right side, just in between the 6-yard box and the penalty box. And I hope that our attackers can learn what to do more, because I think Ziyech, he struggled a bit with it toward the end of the game as well. But I thought it was very exciting. I think he will learn to maybe cope with it better, and our attackers will learn to make the runs so that when he gets the ball, he'll maybe be able to also pass it through for an easy goal.
Yeah, fair. Sorry, I was kind of distracted by the super chat. If Ziyech gets more than a 0, I'm unsubscribing. Okay, well, we have to give him a 0 then. We will have to. But
I got you covered on that, bro. Don't worry, whoever said that. I got you covered.
Yeah, I think so. Now, as we get to Kai Havertz, I think it's about time I get to these super chats from earlier, because there's a lot of people clearly very unhappy with Kai Havertz, including, I think, Pice. Wing saying Kai never had a stellar game at Chelsea. A goal isn't. Bit harsh, but I see what you're saying. And then the more elaborate one by Tuchel saying Havertz was a waste of money. Ziyech needs his contract terminated, and the only attacker that actually knows how to kick a ball in the net is Sterling. The latter part may be true, because Aubameyang looks like a headless chicken on the football pitch.
And Broja apparently can't score now either, which is fantastic.
Yeah, at least he plays great, but yeah, the finishing, yeah. But his cross to Ziyech was phenomenal, though. So, props somewhere. But we'll get to Broja. Havertz. Now, even in our group chat that we have, which maybe I should put Bertram in this one, but so he's when I talk about group chats, he's like, "What are you talking about, bro?" See, seemingly some people or a lot of people, I don't know, will have to judge that, thought he was absolutely awful. I didn't. Now, on the ball, there was a lot of things he did wrong, clearly. I think we're all aware of that. There was some misplaced passes. There was that over-the-top ball by Jorginho, one of the best ones he did, and then he just misses the volley. Those are clearly problematic situations. But I'll tell you one thing now. Look at what happens initially until we concede, because obviously then we wake up again. But Ruben now, why Ruben was second striker / number 10 today, don't really know. I mean, Conte did that. I just wonder will ever any managers come to agree on where that guy should play. But we'll get to that later. Look at the difference in our attacking play when Ruben was there compared to when Kai was there. That's what movement does. And today in the first half, the movement, I was like, we haven't moved like that in the whole of 2022. We haven't moved like that. Now, did it always come to fruition? Of course not. It's the first game under new manager. As a joke, I said, it's the first time we've had movement in all of 2022. Of bloody course. Give them a second to get used to it, for flip's sake. I will give him a 5.5 today. Now, people will scrutinize me. I don't really care. I think when Kai gets to play there, and you know, it's been, 2 years since he last got to play a position like that. I wasn't wasted a striker, basically. I think we will benefit from that drastically. Personally, I think we will benefit from that drastically. Again, I'm not saying it all came off for him. Maybe I'll even give him a 5, But I think to say he was absolutely awful, he can never play, I think you need to look at smaller details of football. In my opinion, right? I think there's so much that works. And if we also have an actually capable striker rather than Aubameyang can't head the ball, which I'm like, what the fuck is the point, bro? He was our focal point. Havertz was the one dropping deep, but Aubameyang can't head the ball. What? Why is he playing? Send him back to Arsenal. I don't care. I still cannot believe that we actually signed Aubameyang. 3 days later, sacked Tuchel. The only reason why I accepted Aubameyang remotely is that Tuchel-Aubameyang relationship. That's the only reason why I accepted Aubameyang. Now, I'm just like, what the fuck? Just why is he playing? Get rid of him. Put him on a bench. Put him as that. I don't care. I don't need it. At least until his jaw is healed. Then we can talk again. But for now, bro, the guy isn't heading the ball. What do I want to do with a striker who refuses to head the ball? What is that? Nah, I'm not down for that. I let Pice have his rant about Havertz, and I'm sure it will come. But Bertram, I'll go with you first. What did you make of Havertz? Do you think he was just awful? Do you think there was... I personally, especially at the beginning of the game, now maybe it got worse as the game went on, I will admit that. That might well be fair. But I was like, okay, Havertz is finally dropping, getting involved, and being a man that we can actually pass to because he's running between lines. And we're not just constantly static as a team with having one or two up top and then loads behind and struggling to get the ball between those loads behind to those two up top. Finally, we have someone he didn't do it well, but at least someone did have that role that, in my opinion, we were so desperately missing for months because we never had a link other than the wing-backs. If the wing-backs weren't doing it, we were fucked. And I thought that was at least a hint of that position being filled. Now, can it be potentially filled better by someone else? Maybe. But I thought, okay, at least there's something there.
Well, I think I agree with what you're saying. I didn't think he was awful. I didn't think he was good as well. I would probably give him like a 5.5 personally. But I would love to try and give him like a chance to play in like an offensive midfield position, maybe a Mount type. But I do agree with what you're saying. I did think the performance drastically fell off between their goal and when we brought him off because of the movement. But I feel like we should start to see some output or maybe a clear plan with him. But it gives me more trust that we have a different manager, even though we're all sad, me particularly, that Tuchel's gone. But I'm excited to see what Potter will get out of him, and I hope we'll get to see some of those. I hope we get to see him. I don't really like to see him play striker, is what I'm trying to get at. I think we get the best out of Havertz when he has the chance to run from midfield into those offensive positions. And I do agree that we did see something from him by the way that he was dropping in and kind of reuniting the midfield and attack, or seemingly lack of attack today.
Finding spaces that our players don't usually find. Again, the stats may be bad. 70% pass accuracy is awful. And this is
0 out of 3 dribbles, 1 out of 6 duels won,
that's all
0
well and
chances
good.
created.
But if we never have players that fill spaces between the lines, and we don't because no one else does it, then
what's the point if you don't get any end product from that?
Or we need to teach someone else to fill those positions because no one else fills the position. And I think it's more likely that we turn him to being good on the ball again and know it because he already knows how to move between lines than teaching someone how to move between lines because that's just instinct. You have it or you don't. I don't think that's teachable or as teachable anyway. Again, absolutely fine if people disagree with me. But Pice, have your say. Have your
I just said it. I mean, you may be right. You may get better, but again, he's too inconsistent. I thought he actually played much better than the last game. I thought he was brilliant against Zagreb away. I thought he was much more better on the ball. He was completing dribbles. He looked good going forward. Today, I thought he was shit linking up. There was so many times in the first half where we had an attack and he just give the ball away. I don't understand. Like, I guess we just saw a completely different game, but yeah, I don't think you can have a 10 playing in that's such an important position who can't create chances and isn't creative. It'd be the same with Mason Mount. It'd be the same thing. He'd find spaces. He might even be a little bit better on the ball than Havertz, but they don't create chances. They're not a goal threat. And again, I mean, even the pass accuracy, the duels, bro, like 1 out of 6 duels, that's not acceptable. That doesn't seem like a player that was putting his application into the game. I don't really understand, to be honest with you. I'm going to give him a 3. I don't think he was good at all.
Fair dues. I mean, Santiago says that.
Fight me, chat. Let's go.
Now, see, a lot of the chat do agree with you.
Okay, good. Maybe I'm not deluded then. Maybe I did see something.
Or maybe you and the chat. See, when I like JCam, you make a lot of comments in this chat, and I see them. I don't always highlight them. Maybe I should sometimes more regularly. You clearly have your idea of football. Now, maybe I don't always agree with it, but when you then call it special runs, no one called it special runs, bro. It's called movement between the lines, and you see, like, no one is talking about special runs, right? So, like, if you're gonna take the piss, at least don't use a silly word, right? Okay. Okay, so I said a 5.5 initially. I went then to a 5. Bertram stuck to the 5.5, and Pice said 3. So now where does that put us? 4.5, I guess, ish. I'm making this up as I go, so please have some mercy. Aubameyang. I've already had a little bit of a rant about it. Pice, I'll get with you first. Now, do you understand why a player that refuses to head the ball? Again, I'm not having a go at Aubameyang for not wanting to head the ball. But do you understand why he plays? Because that's the part.
What occasion was this, bro? I'm really confused. Was there a certain occasion that pissed you off?
Not just every occasion. Every situation, there's a high ball, and you see he doesn't even run to it because he doesn't want to be involved. And the same thing happened at Zagreb last week. It's just every time. And
that's strange. I thought he was...
It's just physical duels. He just steps away. I'm like, bro, you're a striker.
I don't know.
It's okay if it's because of his self-control. Again, I understand, but I just don't get why he's playing then, you know?
In the first half, I thought he was actually quite involved in the build-up. I just think with Aubameyang, he's such a striker that, he really does rely on those chances. And who knows if that chance that Broja had, Aubameyang might score that, he might have missed it. I don't know, but I just think he is such a service-reliant striker, and he didn't get those chances today.
Though. Once he tried a volley, mishit it so badly it hit his knees.
That was way far out though, and the other one was
it was in the box when he tried to shoot. Surely, was it?
No, it was miles away from the goal, and it was also over the top ball, and like he's never scored or anything.
I understand very much so. It was very difficult, but still,
what I mean? Like,
I just he's this amazing striker. Look at how many goals.
No. I think you should chat to me when he misses a chance like Broja did. That's all I'm saying. Like, go mental then.
You chat to me when Aubameyang gets a chance like Broja did. Oh, wait. Last week, he missed 3 of those chances. Easier than Broja.
He also scored a goal. Scored a goal.
It literally happened last week.
Hey, I mean, agree to disagree. I don't think he's the best of players, but I just don't think it's like... I don't know, like I do kind of agree with you in terms of like I know you was very you wasn't very on board with it, like you was just on board because of Tuchel, and I was kind of like that, but like it's a bit harsh. Give him a bit more time. Like
I'm happy to give him time. I just don't think we should give him time while his face is broken.
Yeah. I don't know because I'm not. No, I didn't notice the things that you noticed, like in terms of
Okay, yeah.
like not
But even
going
though
for
Broja
stuff.
missed
You know
the
what I mean?
chance, surely Broja did a trillion times more than Aubameyang, though.
He did.
Like,
He did
just
all
the
right off the
run and then
bench.
the assist for Ziyech, which should
Yeah,
have been an assist. Oh my
he did all right
days, what a
off the
run!
bench, but he did all right off the bench. But I would have actually
Well, he
bigged him
hasn't
up
gotten to
more
start yet, so I
I-
don't know
if
how
he
that goes.
if he didn't score if he didn't miss that chance at the end. I would have probably bigged him up more. But that I'm sorry,
Mm.
like how do you not keep that down? I just don't understand. Like he hit way too much power, and I said this actually on stream last season. I said he is a good finisher, but he's still raw, and he did miss like quite a not loads of sitters, but he did miss chances where he thought, oh, I should have scored that. So
Mm.
as much as I like Broja, it you got to admit, like, not he didn't cost us a game today, but multiple people did. But at the same time, like, he was a part of that group, and Aubameyang for me wasn't. So that's all I'm saying on it.
I mean, I agree with you that you should do better, but I think it's the most difficult chance of all the big chances we had. So I wouldn't single him out. But regardless, let's stick to Aubameyang. What would you give Aubameyang in terms of rating, bro?
Probably a 6, to be honest with you. Maybe 6. 6, yeah, average. I don't think. Again, I think feeding off scraps. And I thought he was quite involved in the build-up in the first half. So, and actually, I think some of his movement was actually quite good today, which people are not really saying really. So, I think it's important for a striker to actually make the runs and not stand still like certain other players.
Fair. Bertram then. A 6 from Pisces, and I can already spoil everyone. I'm going to go quite a bit lower than that. But what about you, Bertram? Do you see what I see in terms of that he's a little bit scared of the physical duel? Again, I'm not even trying to blame him for that. It's an understandable reaction if your face is broken. My question again, I've said it for a 5th time. I just don't get why he's playing.
Well, I think I would probably give him a 5.5, just below average. I do agree with the things Pai said with the movement, but I think he did disappoint me a bit today. I think if we look at the game plan, maybe the thing is, I never understand why we cross as much as we do, because when you look on the face of it, we shouldn't be crossing the ball too much when we play against Salzburg. So when we play on the grass, he should be able to, even though his face is broken, be decent. But I also see what you're saying about his face being broken. I didn't think he was as good today as he should be, but I do understand and I do subscribe to the idea of having an Aubameyang, because if Graham Potter doesn't see Havertz as a striker, we do need true strikers. And love him or hate him for Arsenal, he did score consistently as he did for Barcelona. So I think we will end up reaping the benefits, and I think he will up to score goals for us. He will end up scoring goals for us, is what I'm trying to say. But no, I think today he didn't impress me too much, so I'd give him just slightly below average, a 5.5.
The part I find confusing, the Pai says he was so involved in build-up. He had 22 touches. That's half of Havertz. And
I don't think he was that involved in build. I just think there was, especially in the first half, there was a couple of occasions where there was one time where he picked the ball up, he dropped deeper and played it out wide. Like, I just think, again, like living off scraps. He's not.
Now, see, I hear that one. Do I think he was fed enough? No, but to me. And again, I'm not saying everyone has to necessarily agree with this, but to me, he just looked like.
Isn't this the problem though, Laurenz? Whenever we get an actual striker, it's like we don't know what we want. Do we want someone who is like in a build-up, or do we want someone who's in the box? Because if we want an Aubameyang or an actual striker, we're going to have to really improve the amount of chances they get a game, because at the end of the day, like, he's not here to build up and drop deep and do all that. He's just there to score goals. If he doesn't have those chances to score goals, should we really then be going, well, he didn't really do anything else? Well,
now, see,
what's he supposed to do?
That,
he's a striker.
What I was going to say now, and maybe you disagree with this, but to me, he didn't look like part of the team. It looked like 10 Chelsea players and then Aubameyang. It not in every occasion, maybe, but there was situations in the game where I was like, either he doesn't know what the team is trying to do, or they don't know what he's trying to do. But it just didn't seem to like connect at all to me. And then he tried this one back heel, and Sterling was miles away. Now he got there in the end, but Sterling had no idea that back heel was coming. I'm like, what? It just seemed like the odd one out. Like Santiago said, he looks a little bit lost. I don't really know. again, I'm happily like see what he's like when he's fully healed. And when I say that, I don't think that the injury probably actually stops him from doing anything. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't be allowed to play. It's just more the lack of self-confidence potentially of just being a little bit concerned. It's like the same thing as when Chilwell coming back from injury. He doesn't trust his knee yet. And that's like Aubameyang's probably scared every time something touches his face, makes it worse, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But okay, we had a 6 at 5.5. I think something like 3, maybe 4. Just because maybe I'm just being too harsh. I'm going to say 4. So I'm not too harsh. Which I guess puts us at a 5 in the end. So I guess here we are. Then let's get the subs going. Now, obviously, the first 2 subs were Loftus-Cheek for Havertz. I'll ask you guys about positionings and stuff in a second. And then what was the next subs? Obviously, Ziyech came on past me. I'm not going to move it around for the position. I'm sure everyone's aware that Ziyech didn't play right centre-back. Pulisic came on for Sterling. Did he do anything? Not really sure. And then what was the last sub? Oh, Gallagher came on for... Who did Gallagher come on for? Kovacic. Yeah, there you go. It wasn't actually the last sub, but you get the point. Let's talk about this one first. And I'll start with you, Pies. Ruben. Second striker / number 10, whatever that position fully was today, who knows? Like, how do we ever expect a player who's only, like, of course, he played a lot so far this season, but in terms of overall Chelsea career, it's kind of a bit part player. If he's a bit part player and plays a different position every week, how's he ever going to get any good? Like, he literally, Tuchel spent the last 18 months teaching him how to be a defensive mid and then how to be a right wing back. And then Potter comes in and plays him second striker. I'm just so confused.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he did all right, to be honest with you. There was a great run down the side, which initially I thought it was a penalty just by the crowd's reaction.
And I think it was even a wrong decision. I think.
Oh my god, the way the ref ran over as well. I thought he was a penalty, like it's just one of those, but it wasn't. I'll give him a 6.5. Other than that, I didn't really notice him too much involved, but. Again, I mean, he did a better run down the right-hand side today than I thought Reece did. So I guess that's something off the bench.
I suppose it is. Bertram, your thoughts on positions in the first place and then performance?
I agree with Pice. Again, I thought it was a very good, very powerful run. I think, I saw him play much. I just saw him play on the right-hand side, basically, between Aubameyang and Reece James, so that would put him in that position. I thought he brings something that we don't have as much. I think he is. I think we credit him very much for his physicality. I think his technique is very good as well. And, if ever you think, what he brings to the team, I think we look at the run that he made where he was able to hold off a Salzburg player who could only bring him down by, absolutely mowing him down. So I thought he was all right. I thought a 6.5 is definitely fair. I thought he was above average for the time he came on and also playing in a different role. But I hope to see him play more, and I hope we use him more in a midfield role so we can see and we can, reap the rewards of it and really see how good he is, because he has some of the most unique characteristics I think we have in this team. I think he has the chance to become one of our absolute best players if only we play him consistently, we teach him what to do, and we give him a set position and say, this is where you are, this is where you're going to get good at. And I hope Potter has the capabilities to do so. So, 6.5.
Fair. I'm probably just going to agree with the 6.5 to keep it simple so we can get to the end of this as well. I just fear that, unfortunately, for these 8s, whether it's in this 3-5-2, as I'm going to call it simply, or whatever we're going to do, that Ruben might not be quite good enough at pressing. In Potter's opinion, which is why I'm not sure how much game time he'll get in that position, which is why I feel like he might be involved in some different position. What did Delane had one of the most hilarious comments I've literally seen? Where is it? Where's it going? Apparently, I just hate Pulisic. I didn't even talk about Pulisic yet. I just said he came on. So I'm not really sure you came to that conclusion. If anything, I hate him less than the large majority of this fan base does. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of him.
Hey, look, Laurenz. Laurenz, he's better looking than you, apparently.
I mean, he probably is, to be fair to him, but,
What sort of comment is that? Come on, guys. But we've not even talked about Pulisic. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's very odd. But hey, here we are. Let's go to Armando Broja then. Now, yes, the volley can certainly be better. Bertram, do you agree that one should be as critical of it as Pice is, or do you think it was more difficult than maybe Pice thinks it was?
I think we learned today that volleys apparently are more difficult than we think. We saw it with Aubameyang, saw it with Mount, and saw it now with Broja. You would hope that a striker is able to put that on target, especially because we really needed it, and it would have ticked so many boxes. Broja's first goal, Padraig's first win, 3 points in the Champions League. You would hope, but again, he's not as seasoned as you'd think. He's not an experienced striker. If he'd had more coolness, he might have taken it down. But I don't think I'd knock him for it. When we saw the lone players last season, I would have expected a Gallagher or maybe even a Levi Colwill to come back from our lone army and prove they were the best. Right now, the way I look at it, Broja is the best.
Broja needs to flip and start, and there's not even a debate to be had. Obviously, there's a long time to go until we actually play, so who knows? But as of right now, I think Broja should have started the last 4 and started none, so I'm a bit annoyed.
But his intensity and his Diego Costa-like ways really speak to me. I think the way he just attacks it is very quick, and I hope to give him more game time, and I hope to iron out those mistakes, because as Pai said, he should maybe have scored that one. And I think he's had a couple of chances now throughout these games where he should have scored. So I'd love to see him given a chance to start to see what he can bring, because he brings something that Havertz and Aubameyang seemingly doesn't bring, that ferociousness, that, ability to just smash into something. And I really hope to see him start for the future, because I think there's a really good player there if only we can tame him. And if he gets good at finishing, my God, we have a great striker here. I genuinely, it would have been terrible for us to sell him under Tuchel. I don't know what he was smoking there, genuinely.
Me neither, and he wasn't even Ajax manager.
For rating, I would have given him quickly 6.5 as well. I think he was on par with Loftus-Cheek. Sorry.
No problem. Now, before I get to price on this, maybe I'm giving him an excuse. Fair enough. For me, the way he maybe slightly snatched at the volley, I don't even think he needs to bring it down. He just needs to let the ball drop a little bit lower to make sure he doesn't get under the ball, and then doesn't smash it. I think once he has a few goals, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals. Now, one won't just kill it, but 2, 3, 4, 5. Those kind of snatching at it, because the guy's clearly trying really hard to score. I think once he gets a couple, and I hope it happens very, 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 very soon, but not as soon as possible, because we can't play until October 1st. Again, brilliant. But I think once he gets a couple goals, that finishing rashness will calm down. I hope. I will give him a 7 for today. I think it was better than Ruben, because I just think Ruben, for the position he played, didn't move quite enough, and then had obviously one great moment for sure. And people know how much I love Ruben, but for this position, I think you need more movement than he provided with today. But yeah, I'll give Broja a 7. Pice, what about you? Now, you were quite critical of his miss, so therefore I'm expecting you not to give him a 7. But would you give him lower than Ruben, or would you give him the same? What do you think?
I'm going to give him a 6, just because I think, I know you guys are trying to pick him up and be nice, but for me, you can't miss that chance. Like, bro, even if Kovacic missed that chance, I'd be mad. Like, you're right in front of goal. You've got to score that. Like, I'm sorry, I don't accept that at all. But other than that, he was good. I did like that run from deep where he played out wide, and then the cross into Ziyech. Good. He has to start.
Sorry, can I interrupt you? What I loved almost more than the run itself was how he ran with it. Now, his pass to Sterling wasn't actually that good, but how he screamed and demanded for that ball from Sterling to come. That was almost my favorite thing. Yeah, because Havertz, I don't know about Aubameyang yet. We will need to see him more. But Havertz or any of our other forwards, they will not demand that ball. And if Sterling didn't pass that ball, Broja would have knocked him out after the game. Like if that ball wasn't coming, he would have lost his shit. And that's kind of what I think Bertrand was getting at with the kind of Diego Costa thing, where I'm like, that's what we miss sometimes. We need a little bit of a.
Oh, I agree.
Lukaku just moaned and then threw some thumbs up in the air. Like, even when he was good, when he didn't get a ball, he just complained and put his thumbs up. That's it. And Broja just demanded it. And there was no way.
I was one of the first ones. I was one of the first ones. The first time I ever watched him, I think, or the second time. Like, even for the academy, I was saying, like, this guy reminds me of, like, a Costa region. I absolutely agree with everything you said. He definitely adds something different to our squad, but he is still raw. And unfortunately, if you're bringing him on in Champions League games and he misses chances like that, like you can't just let him get away with it because it might be
That's
one
why
of
I
the
think he needs
reasons.
to start, because when you're
It might be one
chasing
of the
your
reasons why we
first
don't.
goal for your boyhood club, if you only have 20 minutes every time, it makes it even more rash, I think.
Yeah, I do see that point as well. I do agree. But again, maybe then you knock the manager's rating down because obviously he started Aubameyang. So I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Will do, probably. We'll get to that one. But fair. A 6.5, and a 7 then. Leaves us at a 6.5. I mean, Gallagher had one header, which otherwise, obviously before Broja's volley. But do we give him a rating? I didn't really notice him that much. Did you, Bertram? Do you want to give him a rating? We can just do NA.
Nah, I personally give him an NA. Didn't think there was much other than maybe a misplaced pass, to be honest.
Price, do you agree on NA?
Yeah, and I don't know why he came on either, but fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure on this one either, if I'm honest. Now, I mean, I get it. Maybe Kepa with his injury had to come off, but just put Ruben there, like, and then put Pulisic.
We've still never seen Chukwuemeka either. I mean, I don't know, like, yeah, disappointing. Maybe one day we'll see him.
Maybe one day, who knows? So the obligatory 0 for Ziyech, because we don't want Aaron to unsubscribe, but let's also talk about it. Now, he missed from 5 yards. Now, was it still a good save from the goalie? Yes. But it's not really it's not a reaction save. The guy just went for the other corner and then made sure he put his foot up just in case he can save it then. And so he did. But you just can't even allow the goalie a chance to save it from 5 yards, bro. Like, it was like what a goal it would have been for Broja, the run and the pass from Sterling, the cross first time as well, so much power. He just had to put it in and he didn't. And then the last one where I'm like, bruv, Manan hits the ball cleaner than that. Do you know what I mean? Like, how can you scuff it so bad? 92nd, 3rd minute, bro. Like, come on, man. Where's 2021 Hakim Ziyech gone in the Champions League? When he just turned up and lay goal, off you go. Hakim Ziyech got it. Frustrating. But yeah, I assume you guys won't have that much more to add. It's just missed 2 sitters and had a few bad crosses and otherwise didn't do anything, did he? So, but Pice, anything you want to say about Ziyech?
I mean, I'm not sure. Did you mention that one where he headed it as well? And he should have headed it back across.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my God. That was... Broja, I'm sorry. Like, we were just talking about, like, his intensity to get on the end of things and just run and just be like a battering ram, right? You can't tell, like, he would have either run a penalty there or scored or, like, smacked the keeper in the face or something. Like, Ziyech didn't even give him that chance to try and score that opportunity. That was just pathetic from him. He's so bad. I don't know, like, I just don't know. He's awful, man.
Yeah, he kind of is. And it's the next manager that puts him in before he put Pulisic in, which... I mean, obviously, Pulisic's main problem is that he is the backup to Sterling, who obviously number 1 scored and number 2 is our best attacker. So that makes it more difficult for Pulisic rather than it meaning that Ziyech is better than Pulisic. It's more a position situation. But, Basham, what about you? Yeah. If anyone quite literally cost us the win today, it's Ziyech, because those 2, if not 3 chances are just huge, man.
I think... he should score. He's a professional football player, good one at that. At the one with the Broja cross, but I think the one that was worse for me was definitely the header, seeing as Broja was right there. He was right there. It was I cannot wrap my head around the fact that he tried to go for goal there with a header, a weak header. In fact, he should definitely have passed that. I think that was arguably a bigger mistake. But I hope to see us as fan base as well. Just give him a second, third, fourth, just a chance to improve under Graham Potter, because I think if he, I really just hope we get to see the Ziyech we did at Ajax. But today he was terrible. I hope Graham Potter can do something with him, and I hope we're ready to give him another chance as well, so we can get the best Hakim Ziyech out. Quick thoughts from Bertram there.
There you go. Fair dues. Pulisic, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was great. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, just an NA. He was obviously the last sub. I think we can keep that one pretty.
Well, wasn't he the one who played that ball though to Ziyech? That cross was a great cross. If that was him.
You know what? I think it might have been, now that you say it. I think you make a fair point. So fair play to him for that. Probably still an 8, but good cross. I agree. Good cross. Graham Potter. It feels weird to not type Tuchel here. Graham Potter. Yeah. Now, because it was his first game, I won't be too harsh on selection. But if this happens even one more time, Aspie starting, frankly, Aubameyang starting, okay, in 2 weeks' time, it's a different situation because he might be fitter and then it's a different situation. But on the basis of currently, in my opinion, that's a stinker. I mean, I know he didn't sign Fofana and Koulibaly, but especially Fofana, we spent a lot of money. Can you please use the guy and not Aspie? For the love of God. I like the fact that he turned up in a suit. I like the fact that he seemingly, since yesterday's press conference and today, got a haircut. Kind of rate it. Didn't seem like the guy that would do that, but I'm pretty sure he did. I'm gonna give him a 5. Yeah. No, I'm gonna give him a 6. Benefit of the doubt for the first game. Gives that 1 point extra. Pice, what are you gonna give him?
What, Graham Potter?
Yeah.
I mean, I got absolutely cooked on the timeline because I said it was nothing different to Tuchel's. But I mean, he didn't have long to prepare. To be fair, but people were saying, it was, Tuchel drew his first game Wolves. Yeah, but that was 24 hours. He prepared on the plane. At least Graham Potter had like a few days.
Was that in the second game? I know we won it, but how much did we win it by? 1-0 or was it 2-0?
Was it Burnley? I think it was 2 or 3-0. I think Alonso scored. Aspie scored.
But you knew earlier that Aspie scored his first goal. So do you know how the second game ended?
We won 2-0. Alonso scored as well. Scored a great volley.
2-0.
Okay. Well, fair dues. But was it against Burnley?
Yeah. At the bridge.
Well,
we should have won the game against Wolves as well.
No, but fair dues. But sorry, before I go back to you, Bertrand, do you want to finish it in terms of rating? I know it's difficult, but
honestly, I'm gonna have to rethink how I do the managerial ratings because even with Tuchel, it's like I just think it's the same. Like just missing chances. Like I thought we played okay, but again, I was a bit bored. I think mainly for me, it's more like probably the managerial selections he does and the subs more than anything. Which, to be fair, I don't think was too wrong. I think even with Ziyech, it's like I don't want him playing, but if you're a manager, like you're drawing the game, you kind of think just off the face of it, he might be able to come on and pick a killer pass or something. So I do kind of see why he brought him on. But yeah, I'll go with a 5.5. I think the main thing for me was not starting Fofana or Koulibaly. Like that's just crazy to me. I can't believe Aspie played, especially at times when we was playing a 4. It was like, what am I seeing here?
Yeah. You know what? I will also not give him a 6 because just remember that when we needed a goal, he put Reece James at right centre back. And this now I know he was his first game at Chelsea and he's only had a few games of training. But I'm sure he's seen a few of our games while being Brighton manager. Tuchel already did it, and I know when Tuchel did it, so I can't not criticize it now, right? I already touched on it earlier, but I need to value it in the rating, so hence why I'm going to agree with Pice's 5.5. Bertrand, what about you? 2 5.5s. What would you give Potter on his first day out?
I think 5.5 is very fair. I think it's under average. I think we should have beaten Salzburg. I think also we were unlucky not to. You've touched upon the team selection. I think Aspie was a very weird selection to put in. Aubameyang as well. Other than that, he has had since Friday, I think, to set up the team. With all that said, I did think we looked better. I think we looked more, there's the word again, ferocious. But I think you can also attribute some of these things to a new manager bounce. But we look more energetic. It seems like he has changed some things up, but we're sitting here with the draw. I think we won 1 or even 2-0. I think the rating would have been higher. So I would personally stick with the 5.5 that you've both given him as well.
Fair. I mean, Zigzag says Potter is a 7 for him. He wasn't responsible for defensive errors, which is true. And maybe because it was his first game, we'll let him off a little bit for wrong selections, like a few more games and a bit of training to stopped making wrong selections, but still, it didn't quite help. And this, see, Yusuf, I wholeheartedly agree, but I was outvoted. What can I do? But ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to round this one out. Now, we had over 400 people watching earlier. Probably should have told you to subscribe then. Now we have 230 of you, and there's chances are you all subscribed. But if any of you are not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. Like I say, from my holiday in Switzerland, streaming out to you. Didn't do a preview yesterday, but now I would be doing a preview for Liverpool and a player race live stream. But unfortunately, that flipping game isn't happening. Now, I will probably stream on a weekend regardless. We'll figure out what topic, but we'll probably get to that. But ladies and gentlemen, please do check out Pice's website, chelseafc365.com. Link is down in the description, as well as his Twitter, as well as Bertram's Twitter. We won it twice, which I'm still a big fan of his handle. So please go check that out. Please do follow him. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button on your way out because it really helps me push these videos out to more people. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards. Why is our next game on October the 1st? And I'll see you next time.